Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine's Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal says a major minerals deal with the United States has been agreed. Speaking to Ukrainian TV, Shmyhal said a clause said that the US was supporting Ukraine's efforts to obtain security guarantees needed to build lasting peace. Media reports say Washington has dropped initial demands for a right to $500 billion worth of potential revenue from the natural resources, but has not given firm security guarantees. US President Donald Trump said he was expecting his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, in Washington to sign the deal this week.
This vote, the ayes are 217, the nays are 215.
Republicans in the US House of Representatives have narrowly passed a multi-trillion-dollar government spending bill, a major boost for President Donald Trump that advances his agenda. The 217 to 215 person vote was seen as a key early test for Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson, who cancelled an earlier vote as it appeared he did not have enough support. Several Republicans wanted more fiscal discipline from a budget that includes $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, funded partially by spending reductions, but also by potentially increasing the US government's substantial debt pile. But the bill eventually passed along party lines, with all Democrats voting against and just one Republican opposed. Israeli and Hamas officials say the latest impasse in the Gaza ceasefire deal has been resolved by mediators. Israel had delayed the release of 600 Palestinian prisoners on Saturday in protest at what it said was the cruel treatment of Israeli hostages being handed over by Hamas. Hamas said this was a serious violation of the deal. It is now expected that the prisoners will be freed, as well as another group, possibly later on Wednesday or Thursday, in exchange for the return of the bodies of 4 hostages. That would clear the way for the US Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff to visit the region. He said he wants Israel and Hamas to begin delayed talks on the second stage of the ceasefire. Dramatic footage of the aftermath of a military plane crash in Sudan has been released, which killed at least 46 people. 10 others were injured after a Sudanese military plane crashed in a residential neighbourhood in Omdurman, the twin city of the capital Khartoum. The cause of the crash, which killed military officers and civilians, is unclear, but military sources have been quoted as saying that it was likely to have been a technical malfunction. The crash came a day after the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, which is at war with the army, said it had downed a fighter jet in South Darfur. Authorities in Rwanda say the UK's decision to suspend some aid to the country is punitive. In a statement, the UK said it was against Rwanda's support for the M23, a rebel group that has captured swathes of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo in a deadly uprising. Rwanda used to deny backing the M23, but has adopted a more defensive line recently, saying fighting near the border between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda is a threat to its security. More than 7,000 people have died and hundreds of thousands have fled their homes since the conflict escalated in January. The government says 7 organisations will be investigated over the UK's Grenfell Tower disaster, and all 58 recommendations of a public inquiry will be met. Manufacturing companies that are probed could be prevented from bidding for public contracts, while 2 existing bodies will be merged to form a single building safety regulator as part of the changes. Housing Secretary Angela Rayner said the bereaved and the survivors and the members of the Grenfell community are still waiting for the justice they need and deserve.
Sir Martin found that just about every institution and organisation charged with keeping the tower safe and protecting those who called it home failed. His most devastating conclusion was that every single death was avoidable.
And CCTV footage showing the moment thieves stole a solid gold toilet worth £4.8 million has been shown in court. The work of art, called America, was taken from Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire in the early hours of Saturday the 14th of September 2019. Michael Jones from Oxford denies 1 count of burglary. 2 other men both deny conspiring to transfer criminal property. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.